Welcome to our poster. In this poster, we explore how different learning experiences influence self-bias. Self-relevance of information enhances various cognitive processes such as memory and decision-making. Research studying the effect of self-relevance on another cognitive process, instrumental learning, has shown different effects for different learning contexts. In deterministic or certain task settings, learning is faster for self versus friend-related information, but it is slower in a probabilistic or uncertain task setting. What is still not clear are the behavioral consequences of these learning experiences. Specifically, we wanted to know, once learned, does material about self and others learned under varying degrees of certainty influence decision processing? To do that, we used an associative learning paradigm including both deterministic and probabilistic conditions where participants had to learn which character in each of 6 pairs of characters was most likely to be associated with themselves or their best friend. They learned for self and friend in different trials, and the pairs differed in degrees of certainty based on reward probability. The task concluded once the participant reached sufficient accuracy levels in each stimulus pairing, or after a maximum of 3 blocks. We then tested what they had learned in a stimulus classification task. Looking at the results from the learning phase, learning rates were higher for higher reward probabilities, and there was no difference between learning performance in self and in friend trials. Despite participants learning to a similar level for both self and friend, then looking at the results from the test phase, we see that responses were faster to self-related versus friend-related characters, but only in the deterministic condition. We also use computational modeling to look at this effect further. Comparing 3 different models, we found that the Weibull model with collapsing boundaries, which assumes that less information is needed to make a decision as time goes by, was the best fit. Estimating parameters for that model, we saw a clear advantage for self versus friend in how fast information was gathered, but only in the deterministic condition. So, overall, self-prioritization was only observed when target stimulus associations were learned in a deterministic condition, consistent with previous observations that this effect is sensitive to the strength of target stimulus associations in working memory, which we use as search templates during the decision-making process in a stimulus classification task. It is also consistent with the observation that most of the self-stimulus associations made in non-laboratory settings are deterministic. Thank you for listening.